And we are live here at Crushing Activities,
All
Season
right,
1,
so
Episode
now
26 of Botched Job Restorations. And in case if you don't know what a botched job restoration is, it's like when a restoration is done extremely
and
too quickly, it
also
takes it to the extreme.
Alex is also here in the live. He's also here in the live in the
Anyways,
Discord call with me.
we're gonna cover a specific locomotive that had a botched job restoration, which is the London
Whoa, whoa,
Midland
whoa, whoa,
Scottish
whoa, whoa, whoa!
Railway.
Hey, please don't put copyrighted stuff. Hey, that's copyrighted
Hey,
stuff.
no copyright stuff. Stop.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Oh, come on.
If you're playing something copyrighted, please mute yourself.
So, anyways,
Boring.
Sorry.
we're gonna talk about
Next time, kid, I need
a
you to
locomotive
mute
in the Crushing
if you have
Activities episode
anything
in
in
the
the
botched up
background.
restorations, which is the London Midland Scottish Railway number
Hey,
6100 Royal
sorry.
Scot.
I thought
Here is
it's
the
not
link for it to read. So,
streaming.
who wants to read?
I want.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
want
thought
to
it's
read
not
it.
streaming.
I want to read this. Can I read this?
Yes,
Sure, whatever.
Alan. Click the link.
All right, found the link. I'm about to open the. I'm about to All right, let's see what
I cannot do the edit. You gotta get my red to do it.
all right, so and then all right, so now I'll try to see this. So the London Midland and Scottish Railway (LMS) Royal Scot Class 6100 British Railways number 46100 Royal Scot, formerly 6152 King Dragoon Guardsman, prior to identify swap, is a preserved British steam locomotive. History: the original
Please
6100
continue.
was the first of its class, but in 1927, by the North British Locomotive Company in Glasgow, it was named Royal Scot after the Royal Scots. In 1933, 6152, the King's Dragoon Guardsmen and 6100 swapped identities permanently. 6152 had been built at Derby Works in 1930. I'll talk after I finish reading this. The new
I need you now.
You can read the preservation of it.
I'm
I
almost,
need you now, Alan.
but I'm in the live right now. But what was it?
But I wanna do it, please.
Hello, my people. How
I
you
want to
doing?
tell you, I cannot.
Is that a Russian
You wanna read
project
it?
user that we hate?
No.
Hello, my people. How y'all doing
I
today
cannot
on
do
this
it. We
fine
need to get my red to do it.
on this
Are you
fine
Max?
Sunday?
Oh, hello, Max. You're just in time.
What am I doing? What's happening?
What's your name?
Nothing. Just
Russian
staying
project?
video as usual.
Oh, my name. It is a Russian submarine. It is a Russian nuclear.
And
So what?
You like the EMD?
they want to play
E8?
Fortnite together.
Well, EA's are the fucking best. No shit.
Well, hey, please don't.
Wait, oh yeah, so you're actually the real Max.
Yeah, it's a creepy profile picture of me.
He is seriously the real one. I can tell
Oh,
his
you
voice.
like Russia?
Yeah, you could tell it's the actual me by me cursing all the time. You know I like to curse.
Hey.
I think the
this
curse
is
is
big
funny,
action
actually.
around me.
Now I'm gonna try to read what I
Should
left
I be
off.
a U-34 or a Russian?
The new
sub?
Royal
I'm gonna
Scot
be
was
Russian.
sent to the Century of
Hey,
Progress
please. Mute your mic.
Explosion of 1933 and toured in Canada
Wait.
and the United States with the train.
Um,
Typical LMS carriages. The locomotive was shipped
Alan, one question.
disabled aboard the Canadian ship. What?
How is surfing bird is copyrighted? How it's copyrighted? Huh?
Wait.
How? Is it
Surfing
like
bird. I love
copying
surfing bird.
somebody? I was listening to Spotify, Alan. Continue. Continue, Alan.
Yeah, Alan, continue.
Oh, okay. So all right. So here. Oh,
No.
Alex just called me on Discord here. Hey, Alex.
Cannot do the green screen. It's too difficult.
All
What
right,
is what is
and then you also heard in the
hot
background when
glass
I was reading
100?
something live because I've already read the first part of this.
It's too difficult.
Where are my earphones? Where is my earphones? My
Songs
earphones.
we need to time, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
yo,
so,
guys,
then also to read. Want to see this live right here, Alex?
who want to hear me rant?
Not here. I'm so disappointed.
So,
Who want to hear me rant? I feel like ranting.
following the tour.
Do the rant, please.
Were fitted below the nameplates which read this locomotive with the Royal Scot train was exhibited at the Century of Progress exposition in Chicago 1933.
Not gonna lie, this train sounds pretty goofy. Aw.
1933 and made a tour of the Canada and the United States of America. The engine and train covered 11,194 miles over the railroads of the North American continent and was inspected by
Dude.
3,000,000 to 21,601 people.
Wait, guys, what are we talking about? What the hell are you even
Talking
talking
about botched job restorations. And in case if you don't know what botched job restoration is, it means a steam locomotive restoration that is done way too quickly. That they didn't do a good job,
Sounds pretty
albeit
goofy.
causing more problems.
Sounds pretty goofy. Aw, not gonna lie. To be honest, I prefer Confeld in this stupid shit.
Well, hey, Max, can
Ain't
you
Central's good.
Max, can you not swear in the live because it's in the rules, please.
That's by signature.
What signature?
You know I tend to curse a lot during my live stream.
Hey. Please don't. Mad rhythm.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, no. No.
Hey, Max.
All right, all right.
Look at my profile picture.
All right, the next
Yes.
thing
Is that a
was renumbered 4600 by British
Yes, it
Railways
is.
after nationalization in
beautiful?
1948 and
Yep, it
1950.
is.
No!
4600
Wait, guys,
was
can you guys shut up?
rebuilt with
I gotta admire this beautiful Penn Central profile picture. That is just pure beautiful. That is.
I think
Thank you.
I
It,
think
just
you
makes,
should.
it makes me want to ejaculate every time.
Well, hey, Max. I think you should. I think you, Max. I think you, Max. I think you should not say that out loud.
Ejaculation.
Max, you call us assholes after we do a two
Excellent
squat.
kid.
What?
Stop, Manuel doesn't like it.
Is Manuel even in here?
What?
Hear ya, but when he shows up, then he's going when he shows up after Max left, then
Why Manuel's here?
you know,
Gotta go get him.
yeah.
I love that profile picture.
Max.
I can look at it. Oh, what do you want? From
You like
what
Oliva
do you,
Boss, Max?
what do you want from my? What do you guys
Manuel.
want from my life?
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry, I was showering. Sorry, I was showering.
Penn Central.
Oh my gosh, my
Wait,
gosh.
Penn Central is the best.
where's Elijah? Where's Elijah?
Hey. Oh, do you know Manuel? Do you know what we're talking about? Botched restorations. It means us steam locomotives keep getting a botched job with the restorations because they got repaired. Which means it causes more problems.
And I was reading about the Royal
And when it
Scot.
gets fired up, it causes more metal fatigue if you don't finish restoration properly. Just look.
I was also
You see what I
reading
mean?
the
And
Royal
where were you
Scot.
at, Alan?
I was also reading the Royal Scot. And then me and Elijah today, me and Elijah just met at Fort Montgomery.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
you already told me that actually. You already told me that.
All right, so the read that I'm gonna try to read again is that
Hey guys, hey, you guys like my new profile picture?
What?
with the Metra.
It's not.
Oh
Metra,
wait, that's another one.
Guys,
Oh
mute
god, I see
yourself.
that.
it's not Metra. It's
Quiet.
my balls.
Oh
Why
my
would
god.
you say that out loud in
Hey,
the
That's so
live?
quiet.
funny.
What?
What a
Silence.
sad little man.
Silence, or else Manuel. Do you want Manuel to go mad or not?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be mad to be honest, but I'm literally gonna
I don't.
rage
I
quit
don't
like
want.
Noah's
I don't want
Noah.
Dress King
You
to
guys
break
understand that I'm
his
mad all the time.
I mean, I would be like Noah's Noah by throwing his PC out the window. He actually did that.
All right, so back to what I was saying
So
about
I
the
don't want to
Royal
do that.
Scot
But go
and
ahead. Yeah.
Don't get
tape word
demonetized.
boiler and the words prior to conversion were added to its nameplates. It became a markedly different engine in October 1962. 46-100 was withdrawn from service in Nottingham.
Then
And
you can read the preservation.
then 46-100 was bought by Billy Butlin of
My
Butlin's
profile
holiday
picture is better than all of y'all.
camps after withdrawal and after cosmetic restoration into LMS
What?
Crimson Lake at Crewy Works.
You know, guys, if I'm gonna be pretty honest with you guys, LMS is pretty shit. To be honest,
honestly, I have to agree with you. I actually have to agree with
to
him.
be honest, I would have to prefer
I
the worst
agree.
railroad in the world, Confail, over this bullshit.
Even though I don't know that much about trains, I still agree with that kind of scene. To be honest, I agree.
But do you guys like the Duchess of Hamilton?
No.
The
Anything
Duchess of
that's not-
Hey
Hamilton.
guys,
I
let
never.
me finish. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna try to do it.
The Duchess of Hamilton is from
Oh my gosh! I keep dying.
Whoa, dude, chill.
Let me
that
try to
sounds like a
finish.
new
Yo,
problem.
chill. I'm just gonna try finishing the rest because everyone is just doing this newfangled nonsense. Just end of discussion.
I tried to
It's
read
like
this
South Side,
thing. I tried to read this thing.
You guys like Huey Lewis in the news?
Hey, and I see, Max, you have this Russian project. You know we hate Russia because it's what it's doing to Ukraine now. We can't
Honestly,
talk about
like,
it.
I honestly feel bad, to be honest.
Yeah,
Not
to
all
be
people
honest,
from
Elijah,
Russia are honestly the same, to be honest.
To
That's,
be
like, really
honest,
mean.
Elijah, that sounds like a you problem. You're gonna have to deal with it.
I mean, like, dude, listen, Elijah. Like, I know we don't like Russia, and we get it because, but like, dude, you never know. Some people might be from Russia, and some of them are nice, dude. Because I met some guy on Discord, and he was actually from Russia.
I'm
Honestly.
Polish.
Who?
I was nice to him though. Oh, actually, her. Actually, it's a her. It's a she.
And make sure, and I think you're nice,
But
Max.
she is But she
I-
is nice.
I am
She
nice.
just told me about a few of her stuff. You know, we talked about normal stuff. You know, because I'm not that kind of guy that's political. You know, I don't like that kind of guy.
I
I'm
can
not
get
into
very
politics.
political if I wanted to.
Yeah,
but
I'm not political. I'm not
right
politics. Okay, I'm not a fan.
But I will get political if we're talking about Confail and the CNJ.
Okay. If it's something about like trains and not reality stuff, then okay, then that's fine.
I will get look. I will get extremely pissed off in political if someone says the daylight is better than the blue comet.
I actually have no words about that, but it's true. There's no denying that.
It's not true. The Pacific Daylight.
Well, I mean, that's not true exactly about what you said. You know, that's not true at all.
CNJ, best train. CNJ is the best.
Well, yeah, of course. You know, like definitely, yeah.
Do you like you don't even know the CNJ, do you?
I mean, I know a little bit much of trains, to be honest, but like that depends on me. I have other tastes of locomotives, you know. But honestly, the only engines I don't like is probably, I would say, the Gevos. I'm not a fan of Gevos, to be honest. I'm not a fan anymore. I have no idea why I was a fan even to this day. But anyways, Leisha, do you want to continue?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And then also, do you like the Duchess in Hamilton steam train?
No.
The Duchess, can someone send me a
Hey,
picture
let me
of how it
finish.
looks like,
Let me
please?
finish.
I want to see the picture.
And also, you know that did you know that it's from Thomas?
I don't
Which
care.
one?
The Duchess of Hamilton.
I don't care.
Duchess of Hamilton.
I'm just
Let me
stupid.
just
I thought the
finish
City
with
Express
let
was
me just
that.
yo
Hold on, let me see the City
yo.
Express.
Let me just continue. So,
Go ahead.
although
Oh
this
shit!
was the original livery used,
Dang.
the locomotive did not carry it after being rebuilt. Only one rebuilt Royal Scot ever carried Elmas Crimson Lake livery, and that was 6170 British Legion.
Don't you know that?
It was then towed from Crew Works to Nottingham by Black 5 number 450 E38.
To be honest, if I'm gonna be honest,
And then from Nottingham to Boston, not to be confused with Boston, Massachusetts, but the Boston in the UK, by B1 number 6, 11,
Shit,
17, 77, and on June 12th, 1953. After spending a few weeks at Boston Shed, it was taken to Skegness by an Ivet for empty. Then it languished in the goods yard for 3 weeks.
The
but
City of
Or
Truro.
be taken by a pick for this loader for a short road trip. Ip and gold mills.
that could have. Yeah, wait, hold on, Elijah. Can you please shut up? Hey, kid. Hey, look,
Hey,
kid.
stop!
The kid with the
Stop!
South Park profile picture. If you don't shut
Stop
your
it!
fucking mouth,
Stop
what?
it!
What?
Yeah, like bro, like can you
Let's
mute your
continue
mic, please?
reading.
Like I'm just trying to be nice, okay?
Uh,
It's better to ask them nicely, dude. It's better not to do that. Trust me. It won't make
Royal
anything
Scott
better.
arrived at Butlin's on July
City of Truro. You
18th,
guys love the City of Truro,
1962.
by the way?
Piped in by Bypers from the 1st Battalion, the Royal Scots. This made 6100 one of 2 preserved rebuilt Royal Scots. The other being number 6115 Scots Guardsmen. It was sent on a plinth at Skegness and was to remain there until the 1970s. On March 16th, 1971, 6100 departed from Skegness for the Bressingham Steam Museum and was returned to steam.
I actually just want to tell you. I know this might be a little bit off
Steam in
topic, but have you
1972.
guys?
It ran until 1978 when it once more became a static exhibit. It was eventually sold from Butlin's to Bressingham in May of 1989.
wow.
After sale to the Royal Scot Locomotive and General Trust, RSL and GT, in April of 2009, trade by enthusiast Jeremy Hosking. It was moved by road to Pete Waterman's L and W All Heritage Workshops in Crewe.
Finally here. Finally, I've been waiting for this moment of my life. Finally
Wait,
go.
On
Alex.
March
Alex.
20th,
Alex.
2009,
Wait, Alex. Can I ask you something?
Royal Scot caught fire and on fire and
Yeah,
grouped
Manuel,
to a steam pallet
did you
at
try
the
to ask
West
me
Somers
something?
Railway.
I want to talk about. Can you guys? I want to ask you guys something. You guys know? You guys know? You guys ever heard about the City of Truro, right?
Huh? I don't even know what the
This.
hell you're saying.
It's a British 440 American type steam locomotive,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
the one that
British.
appeared from
How
the
could
episode
British?
Warren and the
How
Famous
could wait,
Visitor.
guys? How could a
It was
British?
It's
that. It
from
was
the
that
Great
train.
Western Railway.
How could a
That one.
British 440 be an American type? That's stupid.
Because that's what the rail arrangement is called.
I call that bullshit. It's
I
British.
just denying that.
British 440. It should be.
Anyways, let's continue reading.
Yeah, the
The locomotive was
GWR
being
three four
transported
four
along
four
the
zero
M5
City of
motorway.
Truro. Is that a great locomotive to you guys?
Wait, what locomotive? I didn't hear.
The GWR 3440.
Nope. Anything that's British, I hate.
Anyways, let's
Oh,
continue
that's a
reading.
British locomotive. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh my god.
So the locomotive was being transported along the M5 motorway when a fire started on the lorry under the loco's wheels.
Oh.
Alan, where's Ian?
The engine was later withdrawn from service
Ian wasn't here in the live,
withdrawn from
also.
service due to a number of mechanical problems after completion from its completion restoration. and it was decided to give the engine a complete overhaul to mainline standards. And then she performed her light and loaded test runs on Tuesday October 22nd, and Wednesday, a a a a on Tuesday December 22nd,
Bro, start.
on Tuesday Wednesday December 23rd, 2015, and worked her debut tour on February February 6th, 2016. 2016. Fun fact about the 6100 is featured as a computer-controlled locomotive in
Wait,
Microsoft Train
6100.
Simulator, which the
Are we talking
players
about?
have no control over. However,
Wait,
this locomotive can be modded to be drivable.
wait, are we talking about the Penzi 6100 or another ripoff 6100? Because if it's a ripoff 6100, I'm not
It's the
interested.
one with Royal Scott.
Okay, yep, not interested.
I
The
get it, Alex. I
restoration,
like you
while the
like into
people
that
were
kind of
doing the
stuff, locomotive.
restoration
You
of both
know.
number
Yeah.
61 of the London and Midland Scottish Railway number 6100 Royal Scott, I think they weren't just following directions, focused on paying attention to the restoration of the locomotive. That's really like they should have just at least we should have just at least followed directions, focused and paid attention, listen to more of the restoration.
I should just go back into every Elijah's past live stream and make a compilation of myself acting fucking stupid. No one's answering me.
Yeah.
And yeah, is it the YouTube playlist you're gonna do?
All
No,
right.
I'm gonna make it all into like one video. I'm gonna title it as funniest moments from NJCL Rail.
And
I mean,
what?
I have
All
no
right,
words of
which
what to
locomotive
say.
are we going to do next? Oh, yes, so the Canadian Pacific Royal Hudson number 2860. I
Can I
think you
do it?
should do it, Manuel.
Okay,
Yay!
well, okay,
Finally,
guys.
I get to
I
read.
gotta get going. I really want to hear this Canadian hundred, but I can't. So,
Oh.
bye, asshole.
See you later, Max. Thanks
See
for
you later,
joining.
mate. See you later, mate.
Mhm.
Man, I wish Max was still here.
I know.
He's good entertainment for me.
Did you
I ain't
find
getting.
the Canadian Pacific Royal Hudson?
I got you. Okay. The Canadian
You should, but
Pacific
first,
Royal
before we
Hudson
talk about
class
2060, we're going to talk
H1C.
about the Royal Hudson.
All right. Can I talk? Thank you. Okay.
It's on
The
Wikipedia.
Canadian Pacific Royal Hudson. The Royal Hudson are a series of semi-steam streamlined
Semi.
464 Hudson type steam locomotives owned by the Canadian Pacific Railway, or CPR for short, and built by Montreal Locomotive Works, or MLW for short. The engines were built in 1937. In 1939, King George V1, I have no idea what is that. King George. Hold on, let me see. King George. Oh, King George VII allowed the CPR to use the term after Royal Hudson number 2850 transported the Royal train across Canada with no need of replacement. These locomotives were in service between the year 1937 and to 1960. Oh wow, damn. Four of them have been preserved. Number 2839 was used to power excursions for the Southern Railway Steam
Hey,
program
Alex, you
between
saw the video?
1979 and 1980.
Yeah.
No,
What's
2860
the
was used
wait?
for the excursion service in British Columbia between 1974 to the 1990s. To the 1990 to 1999, I'm sorry. Then again between 2006 and 2010. In 1939, King George VII and Queen Elizabeth visited Canada, arriving at Moose Cove, Quebec on 17th May 1939. This was the first time that a reigning monarch had visited Canada. The King and Queen took a
The hell are
tour
you
of the country
doing?
by rail. The CPR and the Canadian National Railways themselves, or CNR, shared the honors of transporting the royal train across the country, with the CPR undertaking the westbound journey. from Quebec City to Vancouver. The steam locomotive that was the CPR used to pull the train was number 2850, a 4-6-4 built by Montreal Locomotive Works. Specifically painted in silver and blue, the locomotive ran 3,224 miles or 5,189 kilometers across Canada through 25 changes of crew without engine failure. The king, somewhat of a rail buff, rode in the cab when possible. The king was so impressed with the performance of 2850 and its class that after the tour, the king gave the CPR permission to use the term, quote, Royal Hudson for the semi-steam line locomotives of the classes. Number 2820
Hey
2859,
guys, begins
2860, and
here.
2064 were built 1 year later as Royal Hudsons, and to display royal crowns on the running board skirts. Huh, just like how like Gordon was from the episode Paint Pot's Queens. Huh, almost like that. This was the only time a locomotive outside of the United Kingdom was given royal status by regaining Montreal or Monaco. By regaining Monaco, or is it? uh, I don't know how to say it. Is it
Oh my
Montreal?
gosh.
I think Montreal. Yeah, I'll go with that. Okay, let's talk about the regular service. I'm gonna read
Let's
this, and
talk
then you can
about the
continue with this.
excursions. You should talk about the excursions.
Oh, the excursions? Okay, sure. All right. Okay, let's talk about the excursions. Okay, so Ron Royal
Back.
Hudson engine number 2860 was later used in excursion service, a class H1E Royal Hudson. It was built for the CPR by MLW, which we all know what that is, in June 1940. It was the first locomotive of five to be built new as the Royal Hudson and delivered with painted cast brass crowns affixed to its circuits. Between 1940 to 1956, it hauled transcontinental passenger trains between Velstrope and Vancouver. It was damaged in a derailment outside of Vancouver in 1956, but by 1957, it had been refurbished and was transferred into Winnipeg for Pereira service. It was withdrawn from service in May 1959 and sat on the scrap line for 5 years. It was sold to the Vancouver Railway Museum Association in the year 1964. However, the association was unable to find a place to display the locomotive and remained in storage at the Drake Street shops in Vancouver. Once again, the locomotive faced the risk of being scrapped, but she was sold to Joe W. Hussey. Hussey? Oh, sorry. Oh, God. That sounded like I said the other word. I'm sorry. Joe W. Hussey in 1970.
Or Husey.
Hussey. He's. Oh, my God. I just sounded like. Oh, God.
Husey.
Hussey. Okay, Hussey. Got it. In 1973, Hussey sold 2860 to the British Columbia government. The locomotive was restored by Robert E. Swatson's Railway Appliance Research Ltd. Team and staff of the CPR Drake Street Roundhouse shops beginning on November 25th, 1973, Thanksgiving time, and then operated by the British Columbia Department of Travel Industrial with the Corporation of the British Columbia Railway. The BCR commenced a Royal Hudson excursion service between North Vancouver and Squamish on 20th of June 1974. By the end of the 1974 tourist season, 47,295 passengers have been carried and the excursion was deemed successful. It was only the regularly scheduled steam excursion over the mainline traction in North America. The excursion operated between May and October from Wednesday through Saturday. It also traveled North America in the late 1970s as a promotion for BC tourism. It quickly became one of British Columbia's main tourist attraction and an icon of the Canadian steam power. While the engine was being prepared for Christmas trains at the end of the 1999 tourist season, 286 was found to have serious leaks from the superheater elements. The superheaters and the arch tubes were known to be life expired, and some other fairly major boiler work was required. A variety of factors prevented BC Rail from carrying out of the repairs immediately, including the fact that Canadian Pacific 2816 was in the BCR shop being rebuilt under contract, and that all the BCR rail passenger services were under threat in the lead up to the eventual preservation. Wait, what's it called? Preservation, or is it Prevtation, or no, wait, hold on. Prevtation. Oh my god. Prevsation. Okay, I got it. All right. Prevstation of the BC Rail. After the election of the BC Liberal government in 2001, all passenger services were gradually phased out, starting with the Royal Hudson Excursion. The Royal Hudson Excursion unused other locomotives during the 2000 and 2001 seasons, such as the backup locomotive 3716, an ex-Canadian Pacific 2-8-0, which is also provincially owned and currently operates on the Canal Valley Steam Railway in Summerland. As of 2009,
Well, one of the
the
reasons
20
why it's because Canadian Pacific 2860 had had some serious was found to have a lot of serious leaks from the superhero elements, and the superheroes and the arch tubes were known to be live expired, and some other fairly major boiler work was required. And it also, and one of the reasons why it's because after the Canadian Pacific 1278 steam locomotive boil backdraft boiler explosion incident that happened on at 7:30 p.m. On the evening at 7:30 p.m. on June 16th, 1995.
Mhm.
And after the National Transportation Board, after the
Hey
National
Elijah,
Transportation
Ian's
Board
backstage, so can you add Ian
didn't
in
do a
here?
great job, didn't do where investigate that the Gettysburg Railroad crew on the 1278 allowed the water level to drop way too low, causing the country to overheat and fail. Thankfully, the design of the firebox was designed to prevent it from turning to full-fledged explosion with the use of butt and stables. The NTSB also found that NTSB also found that the Gettysburg Railroad maintained the locomotives in a hard fashion with the use of butt and stables, including the air compressor, the feed water heater, the boiler, and the tubes and flues. The cylinders and the tubes and flues. And the lovely Federal Railroad Administration, aka FRA for short, would now have to impose the infamous 1472-day inspection on any steam locomotive.
I'm actually so surprised, but I just have another question too. I want to ask a question. Did this engine
If,
ever get
and
involved
anywhere in the
in an
United
accident?
States where they can operate for 15 years, and every 15 years they would have to have an overhaul. Oh, that would take 1472 days, which would last between in in 4 to 5 years. You see it? Cover what I mean, Manuel.
Yeah, I see that.
Well,
Well, yeah, my question. Oh,
and
sorry.
that caused the
My question
2860 to have
was,
problems.
my
Guys,
question throughout this actually, we just wanted to ask you something. Um, has this engine ever been involved in an accident?
got Alan,
Well, the 2816 has
Alan,
Yeah.
not been involved in any train
Then
wrecks.
also,
It just
Alice
had
So
some
no train
did
problems
wrecks, you
not.
because
say?
Alan,
people weren't actually doing a great job. But in
Alan,
foreign directions, focusing and paying attention, listening to what the
Alan.
restoration of
Captain
the
Diabetes is, is in
2060's
trouble
restoration.
right now
Excited. Stop.
because he's
Like,
not the vehicle
Alicia's talking,
because
bro.
we
Let him
went to the
talk. Go
strike
You
ahead.
can
club
read the rest of the
because we
one
had to
from
fight
2009.
the
No,
details
Okay,
straight.
hold on. Shoot. Where did we
one
left off?
as of
I'm sorry.
2009.
Oh, there it is. Ah, okay. All right. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. I just need to find it. Just give me a second.
You can do it as of
Oh, there it is.
2019.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but yeah, but the thing is, I have no idea where I left off. Hold on. I'm trying to remember. Give me a second. Okay. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, there it is. I got it. Okay. So, uh, as of 2009, the 2860 was still owned by the British Columbia government, but was on permanent loan to the West Coast Railway Association, or WCR for short, or WCRA for short, and housed at the West Coast Railway Heritage Park in Squamish, but had seen on the CNR line from Squamish to North Vancouver in late April 2009. On September 28th, 2006. Oh wow, literally almost wow, the year I was born. Wow, 2006. The Royal Hudson steamed into the WCRA Squamish station under its own power for the first time since October of 1999. Oh wow, just before the year 2000. Wow. The restoration took just over 1 year with the cost of over $250,000. Money for the restoration was provided wholly by donations. The
Guys,
WCRA
about to go
also had
because
difficulty
I need to put my
locating missing
coffee
parts.
machine. Okay.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
Some of the
Yeah.
major components, such as the trailing truck, were borrowed from the sister engine 2850. The borrowed parts had to be returned and had to be locating missing parts. Wait, no. Had to return when 2850 was put on public display. WCRA replaced the borrowed tailing truck with one that was used at a mine, which had salvaged the truck from a Royal Hudson due for scrap. The track turned out to have been taken off 2860 when it was sitting on a scrap line in 1960s.
Oh
The
no.
Associated's plans to operate 2860 on excursion runs and at special events too. Due to the strict, quote, no steam policy that CP and CN have, the excursions are restricted to special occasions only. 2860 is steamed up regularly for publicity and the two statue passing passenger trains. On December 9th, 2010, the XCP 2860 and the Royal Hudson train set were scheduled to depart North Vancouver for Squamish at 12:30 p.m. on the last of its scheduled excursion trips in 2010. The XCCP 2860 certification expired in January 2011, and the cost of the necessary work was estimated at over CA or, like CA $1 million. The December 9th trip was
Wow.
likely its last for a long time. Wow. I mean, yeah, I knew the money was going to be that high, but I did not expect to be like $1 million. I mean, like, it could have been worse if they would have said like 2.4
Maybe even
M
worse.
million dollars. That would have been so worse. Anyways, you want to talk about the preservation?
1 million.
Well, what?
I'm just checking how much. How, how much is 1 million Canadian dollars and to $2 million? Just checking 1 million Canadian dollars and US dollars. Over to 7 million. Over to 748,059 and 59 in dollars and 53 cents. Almost as I mean, like, I mean, it's like, oh, this is actually almost close to a big boy. Almost close to Southern Railway 722's restoration to Pennsylvania Railroad 1360 K4 462 Pacific number 1361's restoration. Now imagine that. Well, if I actually had the money, then I would donate them the money, the exact same money, but at $1 million to restore the 2060 to running condition one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Honestly, this engine, I never really that much about steam engines, to be honest. Not even Canadian engines, but like, in your own personal taste, Alicia, it doesn't matter if you're like, if you like British engines or whatever you want, but like,
or
my
American
my
or
question now is,
Canadian. Right.
my question is like, what steam engine do you prefer in any country? It could be any country, like any country you like. You know, America, UK. What do you think? What do you prefer liking steam engines in the US or in the British or in the UK?
The UK and the
That's
US.
understandable. Well, US too. You know, I'm a guy. Honestly, I don't have opinions about engines to be honest because I'm still new. Because like, remember, I literally was upset with trains, but like I do like trains. But the thing is, I don't know how the engines are good. You know, like I mean, a train's a train no matter what. I mean, is it
Anyways, I'm gonna read the information about Pennsylvania Railroad 1361,
okay?
which is also another. Actually, the Southern Pacific 2467 locomotive. All right, so Southern Pacific Railroad 2467 is a preserved 462 Pacific type steam locomotive built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1921. Number 2467 was used on the Southern Pacific Railroad to pull passenger trains on the overland route. And after the overland route was taken by the now extinct MT4 Class 482 mountain type wheel arrangement steam locomotives, which are my number one all-time favorite extinct 482 mountain type wheel arrangement steam locomotives, the 2467 was moved downgraded to secondary passenger and commuter passenger and freight freight a commuter express passenger services on the San Francisco Bay Area. So retirement overtook them in 1956. On July 25th, 1960, the locomotive was donated to the city of Oakland, who had placed it on display at the Harrison Road Park. In July of 1990, a restoration began by the Friends of the 2467, which later merged into the Pacific Locomotive Association. When it acquired the locomotive.
Oh God.
And
Oh my
right.
God. Oh, sorry. It's
The
because
engine restoration was completed and was fired up on June 16th, and the engine was fired up on June of 1999, when it was returned to operation and made an appearance at Rail Fair in 99, which was a major railroad event. And also performed doubleheader excursions with younger sister engine number 2472, which is my number one all-time favorite. Southern Pacific 462 Pacific type steam locomotive, my second all-time favorite SP locomotive, with my number one all-time favorite being 4449, which also attended that event too. With many other locomotives, including one giant big large gigantic articulated type 466 four heavy Challenger type articulated Union Pacific heavy Challenger type 664 type articulated steam locomotive. I'll cover it later, but I'll not say the number. Unfortunately, the Southern Pacific 2467 Advent was taken out of service in 2002. Oh, the 2467 this excursion career was cut short due to a bearing failure that forced her to retire. And today the locomotive is currently on static. And although serviceable, the SP 2467 is currently on display while loaned from its operator, the Pacific Locomotive Association Incorporated, to the California State Railroad Museum in Sacramento, California. 2467 has two surviving siblings, which is P8 class number 2472, which is owned by the Golden Gate Railroad Museum and once operated occasional services at the Niles Canyon Railway until 2015. It is now the Northwestern Pacific Railroad, and P10 class Southern Pacific number 2479 is owned by the California Trolley and Railroad Corporation and is undergoing restoration to running condition at the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds in San Jose, California. And as of 2022, 2479 2023,
Hey guys, I gotta go. See you guys later.
2479 has been moved to the
see you,
Niles
Ralph.
Canyon Railway and Sunol, California, for completion of its restoration and eventual operation of excursions. Okay. And also the Friends of the 2467, aka the Pacific Locomotive Association, was also formed in the early 1980s. I mentioned earlier. In its disposition, in August 2005, the U.S. Navy ordered the GGRM to vacate all of their equipment from Hunters Point. Just almost short of the site was being turned over to the city of San Francisco. Number 2467, which was still owned by the Pacific PLA, was currently towed back to the CSRM in Sacramento, where a long-term loan was signed to keep the locomotive in storage at the CM's property. The CRM's property. Now, number 2467 is still stored serviceable while being displayed inside the CSRM's main hall. And now, one of the reasons why it suffered a bearing failure. Well, it's because some of the people who were refurbishing the locomotive, volunteers and workers, volunteers who were finishing, and people and people, helpers, workers, and volunteers of the restoration mission just didn't. Some of the work helpers, supporters, workers, and volunteers who were refurbishing the locomotive didn't actually do a good job on its bearing because they should have tested a new bearing in the first place and would have replaced that bearing so it wouldn't have suffered a failure and would have been more successful. And then the 2467 could have been running at this point. Imagine that. And anyways, I'm gonna read another locomotive, which is the Pennsylvania Railroad 1361.
Okay.
Anything else? So Pennsylvania Railroad 1361. I just couldn't leave this engine unmissed. And I know that my Dutch, now retired Dutch real fan YouTuber, aka me numero tres, my number 3, aka numero tres, all-time favorite real fan YouTuber Jim Vander Kalk. Although he hates homegrown Pennsy locomotives because of the Pennsylvania duplexes they fed we're talking about, it would be and the Pennsylvania Road 7002, which was claimed to be the fastest steam locomotive, but it was actually London Northeastern Railway number 4468 Mallard. It would just be sacrilege and rye. It might be beating a dead iron horse. Like the 614 Chesapeake and Ohio G38 Greenbrier 484 Northern steam locomotive number 614. Here's what management steam locomotive number 614. And the fact that 1361's excursion life was so short lived that I had to put on this list. Alright, so Pennsylvania Railroad 1361 is a K4 class 462 Pacific Type Management steam locomotive built by the Pennsylvania Railroad's own Altoona Juniata Altoona shops in Altoona, Pennsylvania in May of 1918. Like the Pennsylvania Railroad 1223 and 7002 mentioned 440 American number 7002 and number 1223 and 442 Atlanta E7 E2 A slash E27 forces slash E7 442 Atlantic number 7002. 1361, almost every other Pacific Type 462 Pacific Type wheel arrangement steam locomotive in North America was one of and hauled the passenger trains on the Broadway Limited until right. And after the Broadway Limited was taken by the famous Pennsylvania Railroad GG1 Pennsylvania Railroad General Electric GG1s and the EMD E8s and E9s, including the infamous Baldwin Centipede, number 1360. Line was downgraded to secondary mainline freight passenger commuter trains in New Jersey on the Pennsylvania between New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania until its retirement from revenue service in 1956. Then from 1957, and placed on display at Horseshoe Curve on that same year. And fun fact, there were some steam locomotives that passed by it, like the Nickel Plate Road 759, and also the Grand Trunk Western Reading 2102 and the Grand Trunk Western 4070, which powered a doubleheader excursion in 1977, also passed it by. First time, and the second time 2102 passed by, it was being towed by 3 Conrail LSD40-2s or GP30s, I guess, which one of them was number 6666. Although that 46's number, they look a little bit crazy because there's actually a photo of it showing hauling 2102 passing around Horseshoe Curve with the 1361 and the 1361 was and the longer, and also that photo with that Conrail SD4-2 or GP30 or GP40 or what 20 GP30 or GP40 or whatever I want to GP30 or GP10 GP50 or GP40 or whatever I want to call it. Was number 6666 when it towed the Reading 2102 steam locomotive passed by Pennsylvania Road 1361. Well, I can show you a photo of 2102 passing by 1361. I'm going to show you how it looks like. Well, you're not ready for this, guys.
How? Let me see. I want to see. Come on. Quick hogging it.
Well, I'll show you a picture of 1361, how it got. You see, that's Pennsylvania Road 1361, and that's the Reading 2102 steam locomotive. You see where I come from? What I mean, Manuel?
Oh yeah.
Oh, look, that's Conrail. That's probably
Conrail.
Conrail SD4-2
That's an
GP.
SD42, right? I would imagine
That might be the GP, or actually the GP20 and your GP30 or GP50 or GP40 number 6666. And
Wasn't
that
that the one
number
that was
right here
involved in the
looks a little
Chase
bit
Merlin
creepy because
collision?
the longer
That was
you
the
look at
one?
it, the more disturbing it gets. So at first glance, it looks like a normal photo of Reading 2102. It would be towed by a Conrail, either an SC40-2 or GP20 or GP30 or GP50 or GP40. Around Horseshoe Curve passing by the Pennsylvania Road 1361. But trust me, keep looking.
So which steam engine is it? Is it the one that's getting there, or is it the one that's getting preserved? Look at that.
No, it's
There's
the
no.
blue Conrail diesel with the 4.6s.
No,
Because
but what about the steam engine though? Like the steam engine, the PR.
That's 1361 passing by.
Oh, okay.
That's the 2102 passing by the 1361. That's 2102, which is a Reading T1, and Pennsylvania 1361, which is a Pennsylvania Road 1361. And that's that's that Conrail diesel that I mentioned hauling the 2102, and they're both passing by the locomotive. And one thing that I noticed creep here, I see the 4.6s because the longer you might look at it, the more disturbing it gets. Unless if you circle around the 3.6s, and it will be crazy and scary, disturbing. You see where I come from? What I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
But anyways, the 1361 was purchased by on September 5th, 1985. The Pennsylvania Road successor after being merged with by the New York Central and New Haven Road to form the infamous Penn Central Railroad, which was an absolute trashy and garbage, and see, this is the absolute worst road ever. And then got formed into Conrail. In this abolition, Richard Geest removed number 1361 from its display site and moved it, replaced by EMD GPI 9 diesel locomotive number 7048, painted in the Pennsylvania Railroad livery, and was also moved to the Railroad. And the 1361 was also moved to Railroad's Memorial Museum in Altoona, Pennsylvania, for its 5th anniversary on September 16th. And they were originally planned tab. Number 1361 cosmetically restored again, but the rare RMM have seek interest in restoring it to operating running condition for excursion service. Then on April 15th, 1986, the restoration work of number 1361 began at Conrail's XPRR, Pennsylvania Road, Altoona, Una's Juniata car shop. And number 1361's former display location at the Horseshoe Curve was taken over by an EMD GP9 diesel electric locomotive number 7048 painted in a PRR livery like with like like I said mentioned earlier. And then on April 12th, 1987, the same exact month where Norfolk and Western 1218 ran again, same year when Grand Trunk Western 5629 was scrapped, and same year when the DuckTales, the 1987 reboot, but came out in September of 1987, but not to be confused with the 2017 reboot because that came out on Saturday, August 14th, 2017. And also, it's also the same year as one of my Darien YMCA camp director, counselor, counselor director Dominique was actually born, but in March of 1987. Well, and my special aid teacher Ms. Veach in July of 1987. Same song, "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley was released, and Pie and Some, but released in a different month. And my friend Anari's dad from which is which is my special need friend, which is my fifth all-time favorite friend, and her dad was actually born in January of 19 early to mid January of 1987. And also another event that happened in 1987, The Brave Little Toaster, also, which is a Walt Disney animated movie that came out in 1987. You know that, Manuel. I'm just sorry for being off topic, but so on
No, you're
April
good.
12th, 1987, the 1361 on the number the 1361 moved under its own power for the first time in 31 years. It made its first excursion run from Altoona, Pennsylvania to Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. And also ran some excursion trains on the Nittany and Baldico Road and North Central Railway. And on December 8th of 1987, the Pennsylvania General Assembly designated number 1361 and its younger sister engine number 3750, which was also built 2 years later and younger after the 1361 as the official state steam locomotives. The same build designated for the GG1 number 4859 as the state electric locomotive. And then in 1988, quite in late October, between mid to late October of 1988, quite sadly, I must say, we all know that 1361's excursion life ran only for a year until the axle bearing failure, where the locomotive suffered a main bearing and the drive axle catastrophic failure, resulting in the locomotives being sidelined in excursion service indefinitely for complete rebuild, which means aka albeit placing the port gate for into an early retirement. And then I don't want to. And then the locomotive was moved to. Oh, here. I mean, like I'm gonna really like. I don't want to say because it says it in the script. Steamtown National Historic Site, where they moved the 13 the look the moved the local Steamtown locomotive for Steamtown National Historic, aka SNHS for short, to restore the damn K4. And then Tom Rich, governor of Pennsylvania at that time, granted an extra $420,000 and then released an additional $600,000 in March of 2000. But the restoration progressed slowly, and as every broken pen and bolt had to be replaced with handmade duplicates. Scheduled completion dates were repeatedly pushed back, and after 13 years, the restoration of number 1361 had cost $1.7 million, even than 30, even larger than Canadian Pacific 2060s restoration, but let's compare that to Canadian dollars. So 1.7 million equals to US dollars is equal to 2,272,546.40 Canadian dollars. Wow, that's so much money. And after that, at the plans to rebuild the number 1361 at Steamtown facilities were canceled due to the RMM stopped paying out the funds and made the decision to return the remains of the locomotive and its parts back to their location. And in 2010, most of number 1361's parts have returned back to the RMM, and however, only the cab, driving wheels, frame, tender, and other very small parts were stored in Altoona, while the boiler was stored at the East Broadtop Road and or Bissonia, Pennsylvania. And and then in February of 2015, the museum had completed the construction of the newly constructed Harry Bennett Memorial Roundhouse and stored number 1361's tender from and other components inside. And in late July of 2015, in, number 1361's boiler was moved back to the Altoona Memorial Museum in Altoona, Pennsylvania, placed inside the Roundhouse Museum with the remainder of the locomotive. Yeah, here's the third. Can't write this again. Okay. They can't write. Does it mean like oh yes, we're like so here's the third restoration. In May of 2018, restoration hopes were renewed when former Philadelphia Commissioner Bennett Levin and former Amtrak CEO Wick Moorman announced the creative of a private restoration fund. The restoration cost was estimated at least $1 million, as number 1361 needs a newly welded boiler. Additionally, the locomotive's driving axles would eventually be upgraded with roller bearings. Levin and Moorman also announced that once the 1361 locomotive was fully restored, it will eventually pull several XPR P70 passenger cars and B60 baggage cars to be used as a statewide demonstration train. Then in February of 2019, the group had planned to design a new boiler that would meet the Federal Railroad Administration, aka FRA, and mechanical engineering standards. In October of 2019, which was the time of my 15th birthday, number 1361's tender was fully repaired and upgraded with roller bearing trucks, and its water scoop was restored for a demonstration purpose. On June 24th, 2021, the museum announced that they hired contracting firm FMN Solutions to rebuild number 1361's boiler and new firebox. The total cost of the restoration work are estimated to be $2.6 million. On November 23rd, 2021, the old firebox was completely removed from number 1361's boiler as part uh, of ML Solutions total renovation. In late June 2022, the construction of number 1361's new firebox was commenced. At the same time, the Pennsylvania Railroad Technical and Historical Society, PRRTHS, aka PRRTHS for short, donated 100,512 of the dollars and 33 cents to the RRMs for the construction. On October 14th, 2022, the RMM went into partnership with the Western Maryland Scenic Road, aka WMSMR for short, in Cumberland, Maryland, to run an evening fundraiser excursion pulled by the WSMR's Chesapeake and Ohio number 1309 steam locomotive with more than $13,000 raised to benefit number 1361's restoration. Additionally, the latter PRR3 chime whistle was fitted on the former by December 2022. The
Hey,
new firebox was starting to
guys.
take shape,
Yeah.
although
My mom said now I had to go to bed because of my school. So
Yeah, I also gotta get up too. I think I have to
let
go
me
too.
finish it. So, although with thicker steel and other
Oh,
modifications of
you're
the
almost done.
1914
Okay.
design in order to comply with current FRA safety requirements. So, what caused the restoration to be botched? So, one of the helpers supporters workers and volunteers again didn't pay attention of the restoration and didn't focus on the same bearing axle failure. They should have installed a restoration, made the restoration longer between 4 to 5 years from 1985 till 1990, and and 1361 could have been running at 1990 and would have had a longer excursion. It could have been running today, but no, you have to do that.
Just like the Cotton Belt train too. Remember the Cotton Belt train steam engine?
You mean Cotton Belt 819? It didn't had a botched up restoration. But the next locomotive that we're going to talk about is the Union Pacific Heavy Challenger, number
Is it the
15,
last one? Because like, dude, bro,
3985.
I got school.
Because let's talk about 3985. So, Union Pacific Heavy 4664 Heavy Challenger type wheel arrangement steam locomotive number 3985. Also known as the Heavy Challenger, is a four-cylinder, simple articulated 4664 Challenger type steam locomotive built in July of 1943 by the American Locomotive Company, aka ALCO for short, of Schenectady, New York, for the Union Pacific Railroad. Number 3985 was used for only 14 years, while the other Challengers, including the ones fitted with smoke deflectors and roll bearings, including the original Federer Challengers, was capable at CSA 1 and 2 session. Two Challenger type wheel arrangement steam locomotives were capable of storming at 75 miles an hour.
Oh wait,
Which means they
also
will be suitable for heavy passenger service.
and then also
Awesome. And now, finally, for number 3985, built in July of 1943, mentioned earlier by the American Locomotive Company, aka ALCO, for short, of Schenectady, New York, for the Union Pacific Road. Where 3985 was used for only 14 years until retirement. Over 15 years until its retirement, official retirement. Last and final revenue was 1957, even though it was finally retired in 1962. And needless to say, number 3985 was kept with Big Boy number 4023 in case of a old war alignment of the Cold War and the Vietnam War happened. That was occurring between the Soviet Union and China. And another good argument for this was at the time, these electric locomotives weren't quite that powerful, mostly getting with attractive effort, and just being inevitable, powerful, but 13, but the Big Boy or 4014. But diesels are more fuel efficient, but they aren't that much powerful. But nowadays, due to some other countries that make their steam locomotives extremely powerful and taken to extreme, maybe the most powerful diesel locomotive that I know is the General Electric Evolution Series ES44 AC ET44 AC. You see where I come from, what I mean, Manuel. And I just realized that one of the most that electric locomotives are much powerful because there was one from the US was much more powerful. Russia made even more powerful ones, and Sweden even made a more powerful one by bombardier transportation. But China has made one of the most powerful electric locomotive in the
Elijah and
entire
Manuel.
world in terms of tractive effort.
I gotta put it in the draft so I can do it tomorrow.
That was Alex, and then also I think I need to go to bed now because my mom's telling me to go to bed because of school because tomorrow is Monday and Monday's probably stressful because of school. So I guess it was nice meeting you in real life earlier today at Fort Montgomery, Elijah, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Because China developed a super high, extremely taking
Should
into
I
extreme high power
should I,
electric locomotive.
Should I also go since I have to go to bed now? So
I can operate at a maximum speed of 120 miles an hour, aka 60 miles an hour. And it's the dubbed Shen 24. And it can and it can pull a 10,000 ton freight train on a 2.0 slope. Right, Manuel?
Did you
Wonder how
call me?
much powerful that is.
Let me see.
Now, track the effort for the locomotive.
What locomotive we're talking about?
The Union Pacific Challenger, but I just realized that in the segment where the 4023
Oh God.
with the Union Pacific Big Boy, a 4020
Oh, the Union Pacific
Elijah,
Big
with the
Boy,
Union
the
Pacific
big boy.
Challenger number
and also
3985 and
hey Elijah.
4023 were kept in the Union Pacific Roundhouse just in case of a Cold War Vietnam War's climate at that time that was conquered by the Soviet Union and China. But diesel electric locomotives at the time weren't that powerful. No, so it talked about nowadays that diesel electric locomotives were much more powerful than steam engines. That's what I actually know.
Hey
Hmm.
Elijah.
Yo, Elijah, I think
Yes.
is this it? Because like I actually gotta go. It's already nighttime for me.
Me too because my parents are telling me to go to bed because of school tomorrow.
I know, mine too.
Because
So
the most
so
powerful locomotive
so,
actually for the Russian railways is the Nova
so, we'll
Cherkaska
see you next time, Elijah.
4E5K for Russian railways at 17,830 horsepower. That's so strong.
Hmm.
I've
Interesting.
never seen such a
I've seen beautiful
locomotive.
locomotives back in every museum everywhere I go. I went one time when I was out of town and I was at Phoenix. I My cousin told me about this railroad museum because like she knows that I
But
was
the
a big
Shan
fan.
24 is the true most powerful.
And one of the
But
paintings
the
and
tractive
when I entered the
effort is
museum there was something else there too. There was a Union Pacific Big Boy, like not the actual locomotive, but like
542.
a replica of the engine. I
Yeah,
wanted to take a
but it's a model scale.
Yeah,
We're
it's a model scale.
but
That's the
this no
thing.
we're
I said
talking about.
replica,
And also
not the
the
real
Shed
thing.
24 had a total unit power of 28,800 kilowatts. And its tractive effort are allowed between the mid 500,000 and 560 something pounds of tractive effort that I forgot. What was China thinking? That doesn't mean like I'm gonna be honest, for like China was just out of control. But anyways,
Yeah,
let's
I
get
could
on
just
to
tell
the
he was out of
3095.
control. I could just tell.
But anyways, in case of the when 3095 and 4012 were kept in the Union Pacific Ground Force in case of a Cold War and Vietnam War or climate, uh, in case if it got serious, they were used for if there was actually power outage and the locomotives was used to use more generate this country with more power in the continents with more power where and then get scrapped at the end. But unfortunately, thanks to this famous legendary Soviet officer Vasily Arkhipov for standing up to the Russian soldier and Cuban soldiers for not firing the missiles by stepping down in Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He thanked God, Jesus, God, and Jesus for letting Vasily Arkhipov for saving the world. Because if it wasn't for him, it's very likely, but not honestly,
Well,
none
honestly, we wouldn't
of us
imagine what would
would be dealing.
happen if they actually did
But
that.
if it was for him, then and none of us are a lot of us are actually are nowadays a lot of us are actually here but
Well, yeah,
fortunately
basically.
fortunately the Cold War didn't get that serious. The two engines simply remained storage and slumbered away until the early 1970s when both locomotives were removed from the roundhouse. This kept going until 1975, when
I
locomotives were
also
removed on
interesting
runs
too,
and
Alicia.
built
This
into
might be a little
storage
bit off
tracks.
topic. This might be a little bit off topic, but I also heard people say that Soviet planes were built during the time of the Cold War, and they
Yep.
were so popular
And
nowadays.
also, don't forget to mention that in the Cold War, America won, but in the Vietnam War, they didn't. They actually
I'm
did
actually so
send
surprised to be
trophies
honest.
and
Looking at the
punishment for
Vietnam
both.
War, I actually did not know that America won. I thought we won,
Uh, Dopeling got
but no,
named
it turns
just
out we
got named
lost.
after the best too. But anyways, let's continue on with 3985. At this
Well, let's
time,
hurry up because I got school.
number 3985 was one of only two Challengers locomotives to be still ill, ill preserved, left preserved in existence, and the only one to have operated an urgent, and one of only two that operated an excursion service, which was the other one, which is the now extinct 3967 for the Union Pacific's first ever excursion for the Rotten Mountain Key Railroad Club on May 17th, 1953, but tragically scrapped in between 1950, early 1959 and late 1962. Imagine if they could have saved it, then they could have at least donated to to the Museum of Transportation in St. Louis, and it would have been around today. It would have been
They could have.
restored for its 40th anniversary on May 17th, 1953, and its 50th in May 17th, 2003, and then in 2013 and 4. And even in 2023, for its 70th anniversary, it was actually around. But anyways, the other surviving heavy Challenger number 3977, which is 3977's older surviving sibling, which was built 8 embers earlier, and also a tender from a Delaware and Hudson J95 4664 light Challenger number 1517, which was used as a steam generated tender coin and for auxiliary water tender with the Canadian Pacific 2816 steam locomotive excursions, which I can't honestly can't wait until the day that I see it run and again, makes its tour, making its tour, and hopefully get to ride and tour on it. It's when it tours, when it like tours when it like tours around the Canada, United States, Mexico, between Calgary, Alberta, Canada to Mexico City, Mexico. That's where Ellen went. And then, anyways, and now imagine if I can also imagine if 1517 was actually the engine itself was actually preserved because the original one had been scrapped. Now just imagine if it survived the tender, then we could have had three heavy Challenger types, 4664 Challenger type steam locomotives preserved. And I just wish that happened, but one of these days it definitely has to get selected for a full size replica. And if I were to have the money to do that, then I would probably just get a lot of members, volunteer helpers, supporters, your workers and volunteers, especially you guys, if you're extremely suitable for taking it to the extreme, would know how to bring back a steam locomotive from the dead, just like they're doing with the Pennsylvania Railroad T1 Trust. It's just a shame that America doesn't have that much new build steam locomotive projects. America, just like the UK, has a lot of them, including the ones that were few ones that were completed, most of them in construction and proposed, and a few of them have been canceled. Not just America at the same too. But anyways, with number 3985, while the 4023 was sent to move to Omaha, Nebraska, where it moved several times. It was on the Union Pacific Grid themselves. The 3985 were moved in Cheyenne. 3985 was cosmetically restored and was then placed on display outdoors beside the Cheyenne Iron train station depot in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And then in 1979, it was removed from the display site and into the Union Pacific Steam shops to be refurbished. Between 1979, which your mom was born, to March March 17th, March 19th, 1980. A1.
Actually,
In
she wasn't
oh,
born in March. Actually, she was born in January 30th.
January of 1979.
Yeah, 79. Yep, January 1979.
But 3980. But I'm talking about March 19th of 1981,
Well,
or
yeah, that's a cert. Well, that's the year. Yes,
probably
the
March
year was.
18th of
Yeah.
1981. Your mom was 2 years
Okay.
old at the time. And then the proud challenger was removed from the roundhouse, moved on its own power for the first time in 24 years, and was and 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 spent the rest of the day hauling up and down freight trains. And then 395 was limited to safety 8 days, and was converted to burn oil in 1990. Because one of the reasons why I mean, before you guys start complaining about this, there was a whole bunch of positives to this. More route availability, maybe a little bit more fuel efficient, less expensive to maintain, and cinders and ashes from the ash pans that would create grass-side wildfires. But and I'll show you a picture of how how it would etch etch you how it causes a wildfire soon. You see where when it was converted to burn coal, the time it could called grass like wildfires. There's this video of it of 395 how it catches fire on the 1999 excursion. And well, Manuel, I think I'll send you that in the DM soon before you go to bed.
All right.
And then the 3985 also got a reputation for being the king of masquerading, where in 1992 where was moved by Union Pacific to the Clinchfield Road and was disguised as Clinchfield Heavy Challenger number 675. But I don't really count that one as it felt like a dry one for on the Clinchfield, as the fictional Clinchfield Challenger number 676. And long story short, the Clinchfield also had some challengers too. But the E1s and E2 challengers were much more powerful, not to be confused with other E1 and E2 class challengers, just like the E1s from the Spokane, Portland, Seattle Railroad with number 700. Though we're talking about the E1s from the Clinchfield, which are 4664 heavy challengers, and the E2, and as for the E2s, not to be confused with the London, Brighton, South Coast Railway E2s, which were the basis of Thomas the Tank Engine. And but we're talking about the we are mentioning the E2 4664 heavy challengers from the Clinchfield Road, but we're talking about the E3 challengers from the Clinchfield Road because they were the six extra Union Pacific challengers that were originally meant from the Union Pacific, which was number or 3970 to 3975, and they were originally going to be sold to the Denver Rio Grande Railroad, and and classified as L97s. Number is 3800 to 3805, but they didn't prove to be that successful or likable interest in the staff at the DENRGW. So they eventually sold to the CRR, Coachford Road, aka CRR for short. And then noticing that 3095 was an oil burner, or disguised as the fictional Clinchfield Challenger number 676, you can see that the one of the Clinchfield Challengers weren't originally meant for the Union Pacific, then got sold to the Denver Rio Grande Road, but did prove to be that successful and likable interest in staff at the DNRGW, and then moved sold to the purchased by the Clinchfield Railroad, and had a single smokestacks, while the 39.5 had twin smokestacks. Now imagine that on the Clinchfield Challengers.
Hmm.
And then on May 17th, 1993, it disguised as Felix State's classmate of the 4664 had the Challenger type articulated, which was designed by Otto Joppelbaum, which was designer for both the Union Pacific, Federer Challengers, and Big Boys. always for the Union Pacific. They were it masqueraded as its sibling engine. Sibling engine where it ran between Cheyenne, Wyoming. Where it ran where ran where it ran be let me for the Rocky Mountain Railroad Club excursion for its 40th anniversary. Between Cheyenne and Laramie, Wyoming. And finally, another semi-fictional masquerade was numbered to 3718, because during that same time period, the engine was renumbered again to 3718, and the number being a continuation of the few 466 4 or 66 46 44 64-4 4K 466 484 4-4 locomotives that were converted to run on oil in 1945, which were numbered 3708 to 3717, and 3985, which was originally numbered 3718 at the time, would have been the next one if the production had continued. Just in case you're curious. And I think they might have did the same in 1950. Oh yeah, and so the original 3960 Union Pacific Heavy Challenger number 3967 was scrapped in 1960 instead of between 1957 to 1962. So it was actually 1960. Yeah, my parents. And then during that same time period, and also it also masquerades 3967 for the 50th for the 50th anniversary of the Rocky Mountain Railroad Club steam excursion between Cheyenne and Laramie, Wyoming, and on May 17th of 2003, which was also the year when my sister Alexandra was born, but on September 8th, but 4 months later, on September 8th, on Tuesday, September 8th of Wednesday, September 8th of 2000, Monday, September 8th of 2003. And the 3985 continue operating excursions by the Union Pacific, and the locomotive made its last and final runs during the Missouri River Eagle Tour, which took place from September 30th to October 14th, 2010, which was 2 days after my 6th birthday. Now, as part of the tour, number 3985 was selected to pull the Wrangling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circus train from Cheyenne, Wyoming to Denver, Colorado, where the circus had held a special performance to celebrate P.T. Barnum's birthday. And also, don't forget the Union Pacific number 3985 steam locomotive. Out of hauled the most notable freight run that took of number 395 that took place of number 395 took place in 1990, in which the American President Lines had a special request for the locomotive to pull a 143 car double stack train between Cheyenne and North Platte, Nebraska, which was extremely impressive and taking it to the extreme, and was posted on the internet on YouTube since 2007 and went freaking viral. And then the locomotive was in the maintenance shop at China in 2017 and underwent repairs in 2008. And then after the tour, it was taken out of service for repairs and placed into storage, allowing a locomotive to go under a 2-year refurbishment. And tragically, but there was a big problem. Well, remember, and if you watched, guys, if you're actually watching this, if any of you actually watched the Rail Fender YouTuber, some random 5, The now abandoned rail fan YouTuber Some Random 5 chimes this. Now abandoned, taken down. Uh, deleted, taken down. Let's see. Taken down, deleted, and terminated. Video of his part 4 of his top 20 retired team excursion stars video from the United States of America video in the 1218 and the number 2 segment where he talked about the Norfolk and Western 1218 A class 2664 simple Adriatic articulated type rearrangement steam locomotive number 1218 and the scene where you he wanted to refurbish a steam locomotive as back as factory fresh condition as possible, so it was like brand new. This this was the case when 3985 did when was gained a massive restoration from 1987. Happened restoration between 1979 to March 16, 17, 18th, and 19th, 1981. And then, and in December of 2000, and then, well, December of 8, when Ed Dickens took over the Union Pacific Steam Program, um, he discovered so many flaws in number 3985 because, well, after its restoration and when it ran during its excursion years, and after the Canadian Pacific 1278 Gettysburg explosion that backdraft boil explosion for the Gettysburg Road that I mentioned earlier about the incident with the about the National Transportation Safety Board, aka NTSB for sure, investigating the explosion, and the Federal Administration, aka FRA, would nowadays would have to. Nowadays, the lovely Federal Administration, aka FRA for short, would now have to impose the infamous 1472 day inspection on any steam locomotive if they're actually running 15 years and then getting overall between 4 to 5 years, and blah 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 and all that. And then in December, and then 395 would have gotten been crippled so much that number 39 at number 3985 just got just was fired up and caught was more often a which caused albeit yeah to aka like albeit causing more mental fatigue. And then in December of 2018, Union Pacific asked the Federal Road Administration, KFRA for short, for waivers to exempt numbers 395, 844, number 4014 from Federal Positive Train Control, aka PTC requirements. And then February of 2019, the FRA officials responded that such waivers were not needed. And then, and one of the volunteers, one of the helpers, supporters, workers, and volunteers who were actually members of the one of the members of the Union Pacific Steam Program and another Union Pacific Steam Program people had worked on the restoration for 3095 and did do a spectacular, incredible, impressive, epic, dope, cheesing, godly, absolute best in its restoration. In fact, the abysmal satanic sickness is the absolute worst worst they've ever seen in the entire world of my entire life in 2023. On at 10:14 and 58 p.m. on Sunday, January 22nd, 2023. It's a late January 22nd of 2023. 2023, where tragically the engine didn't get the massive restoration really needed between 1975 and between March 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 1981. And then tragically, in the whole world, in January of 2020, which was the same year the owl between mid to late January of 2020, only to mid to late January of 2020, the same year when the Owl House came out, except on January 10th, 2020, which was a great year for 2020, and also the same month where Kobe Bryant passed away on a helicopter crash with her sister on Sunday, January 26th of 2020, and around 9 some between 9:40 and 50 something p.m. Union Pacific officially retired number 3985 from excursion service. The Union Pacific Steam Program manager, Ed Dickens, said that the steam team felt that maintaining 3 locomotives was too much for them to handle. And also number 3985 also needed an extensive overhaul due to its poor mechanical condition, as number 4014 officially replaced number 3985 in excursion service. But happily and excitedly, and Gisling got a spectacular, incredible person, epically, Gisling Godly in the absolute best act in the acquisition by the Railroading Heritage of Midwest America 2022 to now present. Okay, now, now.
Hey, sorry, my mic was muted. I thought my mic wasn't muted. Sorry.
Then on
Sorry.
April, let's check the date for April of 2022. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Hey, by the way, Diego wants to join.
Like, I'll be honest, but like, so on Thursday, April 28th of 2022, the Union Pacific officials officially announced that the local company would donate number 3095 along with T2 Santa Fe to number 5511 Evan, which is the only steam locomotive in the entire world that is only left with equipped and suited and purchased with young valve gear, which is a rare type of valve gear used on many other rare steam locomotives, albeit being the rarest valve gear of all time. Centennial 6-axle Union Pacific EMD DDA 40X Centennial 8-axle number 6936. And an unpowered E9 locomotive and other rolling stock from their heritage fleet to the Railroading Heritage of Midwest America in Silvis, Illinois. And the RHMA aims to restore both number 3095 and number 5511 steam locomotives to operating condition. And then on Friday, May 13th, 2022, which was 1 year day, exactly 1 day when the Amphibia Final Season 3, the official final episode, less than final episode, The Hardest Thing came out, albeit being 2 days, that my Ukrainian grandparent and said came a miraculously a miracle, a spectacular, incredible, impressive, and epic, and Jesus and godly, and absolute bestly come out. Bestly come out from the Ukraine because of the war with Ukraine and Russia that were going on.
Yeah,
We
we all
should not
know. We
talk
all know.
about.
You don't have to tell
And
us
we
about
all
that.
know they finally came to North America at the New York JFK airport, I guess. Or the LaGuardia airport.
It's New York, by the
Or
way. New
JFK
York John F.
airport.
Kennedy Airport.
But the LaGuardia airport, or JFK Airport, JFK Airport. Albeit Alex lives near the LaGuardia Airport, but the JFK Airport, I think, might be it might be closer to him too.
Yeah.
Then look, which a little bit further away from LaGuardia Airport, and also, the RHMA launched a fundraiser to raise money for the work. And on that same year, UP began to move number 395 and the rest of the donated equipment on November 11th, and the train arrived at the RHMA shops on November 19th. 19th. Let's see, November 20, oh yeah, so on Friday, November 11th, 2011 is when on that same year when the youth began to move to number 39, number 55, 11, and this and number 6938 locomotive and the unpowered E9 locomotive to Silverstone to the RHMA in Silverstone, Illinois on Friday, November 11th, 2022. And then on Saturday, November 19th, 2023. Hey.
Well,
And then they were all of them, including other rolling stock, locomotives, roll freight, passenger, freight and passenger, dual cars, rolling stock, and other equipment to the RHMA shops on Saturday, November 19th, 2023. And then in January 2023, the RHMA announced that restoration efforts on number 395 began. And well, so let's explain. What could have been better if they actually done the restoration better on number 395? Well, it would have had the massive restoration it really would have gotten the massive restoration it would have owned the massive restoration it really needed, and it would have took longer between 1979 and 1982. And that would have been the year 395 would have completed its restoration if the people actually they paid attention to the restoration. Well, but hey, at least I can't wait to see 3985 running again. And hopefully, Manuel, once it's restored, then you'll probably see it and ask your mom, along with the 5511.
well, yeah. Let's see.
And
Let's
see
hope
the
that can happen.
epic quarter header excursion with 30 with Big Boy 4014,
Okay.
Northern FEF 344, Northern number 844, and also Heavy Challenger number 395 and 210 Santa Fe type number 5511.
Well, let's hope if I get lucky, if I can try spotting one, because you
That's
never know.
my
You
PFP
never
of
know. Some trains do
844.
come here. No.
And that's 844 when it was renumbered to 8444. That's the one from August, between August, on August 5th of 1972.
Yep.
My mom was 4 years old until she turned 5th on her 5th birthday on November 21st of 1972.
Yeah.
My dad was also 8 years old because his 8th birthday was on August for August 4th of 1972. Your parents weren't even around that time except for your grandparents.
Well, most of my grandparents, and yes, yes, my grandparents.
How about your
Well,
dad?
anyway, I actually have to go now because it's already
But
getting tired.
anyways, it's nice talking to you. Hopefully I'll see you next
Yeah.
time. So,
Peace.
but that's all. Bye. That's
That's all,
all, folks. And peace. God bless you all.